Last year, master boat builder and driver Rob SCYTHES left no mistake as who would be the Canadian Formula One champion as he dominated the field. First with the fastest qualifying time and then with an outstanding race win. But the competition is a lot tougher this year. So hang on, because this could be one rough ride to the championship. This is the 2001 Molson Canadian National Powerboat Championships from Whitewater Park in Azilda, Ontario. Hello everybody, I'm Pat Gonzalez and welcome to the community of Rayside Balfour in the city of Greater Sudbury. This is the 10th year for these Formula One Powerboat Championships here at Whitewater Park, and today we'll see the big boys in the Formula One boats putting out 350 horsepower. We'll also have the lightning-quick SST-60 racers along with the Formula V outboards. Now, like most big events, it's more than the racing that keeps the crowd entertained, and with more on that, here's Todd Lewis.
Thanks, Pat. The party here at Whitewater Park has been going on for 2 days straight, and there's something for everyone. From the children's entertainment village to the food and beer tents for adults and non-stop live bands for everyone. But when the flag drops and the F1 drivers hit the start button, anything can happen, and that's what these race fans have come to see. But the thing that keeps fans coming back year after year is the crowning of the national champion. Rob SCYTHES, you've won that national championship for the last 2 years. Great competition this year from GRYGUC, who had a really hot lap yesterday. Can you wear that mantle for a third year?
Well, that's always a possibility, Todd. The competition here today is going to make it very, very difficult. But it is a 15-lap race, and anything can happen, and provided we get a good hole shot, get to that first corner first, we'll have a good shot at it.
Pat has more on those hot laps from yesterday.
Todd, ideal conditions on Whitewater Lake with number 12, Don Jenkinson from Pennsylvania, setting the early mark with a 35.68 second lap in qualifying for the feature and a top speed of 108.9 miles per hour. But then GRYGUC in the number 17 Seabold tunnel boat really cranked it up. The boat was trimmed out beautifully in almost perfect conditions as he recorded a 35.01 second lap at a radar trap speed of 114.2 miles per hour. That's a real tribute to his father, Ted GRYGUC's skills, as he gave his son Greg a rocket ship to ride. Todd? Here's the bird's eye view of the facilities here at Whitewater Park. Plenty of things to do on the water in the Sudbury area, relaxing cruising and water sports with a twist. Fly-in fishing is very popular, as is the centerpiece of Sudbury, the Science North facility, with hands-on exhibits and a 3D IMAX theater. And this party goes all night here at Whitewater Park with beverage and food areas and lots of bands catering to as many musical tastes. It's been a great weekend so far, Pat. Todd, it certainly has. They're expecting some 15,000 folks through Whitewater Park at the end of the racing today. Coming up, we've got the Dash for Cash for the Formula One boats. The Molson Canadian Powerboat Championships are sponsored by Travelodge Hotels. When in Sudbury, visit the Travelodge. The Government of Canada. And by the City of Greater Sudbury. Sudbury, Ontario, Canada, naturally greater. Welcome back to the Molson Canadian Powerboat Championships. Our first event is the Dash for Cash. And there's the starting lineup with a newcomer to the event, Marty Broders, on the pole. He's an ex-Nitro Funny Car racer, ran in the NHRA and IHRA, hasn't raced in a couple of years.
Everyone's looking for the all-important hole shot here off the start to get to the inside of that first buoy. GRYGUC, starting on the outside in the yellow Seabold, has really got his work cut out for him.
You saw Broders, 33, did not get off the dock very well. It's 25, Larry Everett, having a go down on the inside, and pulling up to challenge is Pete NYDAHL from Wisconsin, and the American driver will grab the lead at that first pin. So NYDAHL, who has not run here at Whitewater Park before, jumps out in front. 25, Larry Everett, running in the number 2 spot and being challenged by Rob SCYTHES in that green and white number 46 boat.
Rob SCYTHES trying to make a move up the outside. Surprised that Rob wasn't a little stronger off the start. He's kind of been the guy to beat here at Whitewater Park, and we were expecting a little bit more from him in this Dash for Cash.
You can see he's attacking the buoys a little bit differently than Everett is. Larry Everett out of Halliburton, that Skidoo-sponsored boat, running in the number 2 spot. SCYTHES about 4 or 5 boat lengths back in the 3rd place spot, and they're trying to run down the race leader, Pete NYDAHL, in that number 71 boat. He continues to lead this Dash for Cash. If you look here, you can see the number 12 boat, Don Jenkinson, in the Custom Ram didn't get the start. He'll have some work to do to get ready for the feature. And Todd, we've got just a great battle here for second as Larry Everett, boat 25, continues to hold off last year's winner, Rob Size, in that Cycraft boat. And there is Size. He runs really wide around that buoy. And the number 5 boat there of Doyat, Randy Doyat, in fourth and not that far back of Rob Size. It looks like Size is almost trying to keep the momentum going by staying on the outside, but I'm not sure anybody's going to catch Pete NYDAHL, and I know he was worried about having enough boat for these competitors when I talked to him earlier today. There is Pete NYDAHL. He continues to lead it and running in the clean water. He's been able to pull away from Rob Size in that 46 boat and 25 Larry Everett. So the American continues to lead. There is Ted GRYGUC looking on, and 25 Larry Everett is pulled to the inside of the course. That'll move 46 Rob Size in that white and green boat up into second, and Randy Doyat in the number 5 boat is third. And we'll see if Rob Size, now that he doesn't have to worry about Larry Everett, whether or not he can get it smoothed out and adapt to these changing conditions from yesterday and catch up with Pete NYDAHL. There's the 17 boat of Ted GRYGUC. He is running in fourth and maybe down just a little bit on horsepower after having that great run in the qualifying yesterday. 71, Pete NYDAHL from Wisconsin, running here at Whitewater Park for the first time. Look at the lead, Todd. He is built up over the 46 boat there of Rob Size. Perhaps Pete NYDAHL, in his experience in the United States, is better adapted to these choppy conditions today. Here's another boat with problems. Last lap coming up for the 71 boat of Pete NYDAHL. We saw the 17X, that gray boat. That is Mark Major, a rookie in Formula One. He was one of our top SST racers of a year ago. He's moved up to Formula One, but less than a lap to go. Pete NYDAHL looks like he's going to take this Dash for Cash very handily. Pete NYDAHL, as we mentioned, a little bit worried about horsepower. He's adapted to these conditions very nicely, got that boat trimmed up. We see the front bounce just a little bit there, but doing a beautiful job in this Dash for Cash. Pete NYDAHL from Wisconsin goes start to finish for the win. There is Rob Size. He will finish second, and it'll be the number 5 boat of Randy Doyat as he will cross the line in third. Good run for him. Here's a look at the final standings in the Echo Rental and Supply Dash for Cash. Mark Major had problems, as did Don Jenkinson and Larry Everett. Let's go to Todd Lewis.
Pete NYDAHL, you weren't really sure about how much you'd have out there, but a good shot, a good start, and Dash for Cash winner. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, I had a little bit better dock position today, and that makes a big difference because there's 3-4 Canadians that are pretty fast, and if they beat you to the first pin, it's hard to get by them. Real hard.
Fast Canadians, but a pretty fast American in the Dash for Cash.
Bristol, Wisconsin driver Pete NYDAHL, the first winner of the afternoon. Coming up, we've got Formula B racing highlights from Whitewater Park. This is the MOLSON Canadian Powerboat Championships from Whitewater Park in the city of Greater Sudbury. And next up are highlights of the Formula B and modified race for the Canadian Championship. You'll see a lot less power coming out of these boats than the Formula One. Only 60 horsepower, but with the V bottom, capable of 75 miles per hour in ideal conditions. Todd, 737, the blue boat there of Craig Ferrier out of Ajax, Ontario. The 31-year-old got away to a tremendous start. 96, Matthew Riddy from Penetang ran in the number 2 spot. But again, the start's so important here. Ferrier got out into that clean water, and he just started to run away with this one early. That's especially important, as you mentioned, Pat, in these choppy conditions. Gusty winds, blowing the boats around a little bit and creating a little more turbulence on the water. As you can get into the clean water, you can get that boat to behave a little more smoothly across the top of it. And as we see, a big lead built up already. Tracking off of that final buoy, there is 96 Riddy in second. But then we had just an unbelievable battle here for the third place spot involving the orange 14 boat of Brian Sheriff and the 67, the black boat there of Cameron Whitside. The Black Bullet, as Cameron Whitside is called, trying to keep that outside line again, stay in the smoother water. You can see these boats rocking through the turbulence, especially as they go around the buoys. Whitside trying to make that move up into third position. And Brian Sheriff in that orange 14 boat cutting down right on the inside of the buoy. Whitside had a quick line up on the outside, and these two guys battled side by side for about 4 or 5 laps. Here is that fight for third that was certainly the best throughout the course of this Formula V race. Up front, Ferrier, 737, continued to lead. 96, Riddy in second. But all eyes were focused on this great fight for third between Whitside in boat 67 and 14, Brian Sheriff, who was going to give up that third-place spot very easily.
The 41-year-old trying to use that extra experience to go around the outside. All the competitors, I think, a little bit relieved, Pat, that they're not competing against perennial winner here, Jimmy Whittington, who had problems yesterday.
Well, Jimmy Whittington, who's won the last two Formula V finals here at Whitewater Park, blew up the motor on his boat, wasn't able to make the final. But I tell you, this race for third was absolutely superb. There you see Brian Sheriff running a little bit wide around that buoy. That allowed 67 Cameron Whitside to take control of third. Late in the race, 737, Craig Ferrier out of Ajax still with a commanding lead as he works here on the last lap. This was the battle for second now as Whitside moved up to challenge 96. Matthew Riddy out of Penetang. This was as good a race for second as we saw earlier between Sheriff and Whitside. And on that last lap, it was 67 Whitside into second. Riddy, number 96, would finish in third.
Moves around, takes the checkered flag, but Cameron Whitside did not shut the boat off after the first buoy, which is required under the rules, and was penalized one lap.
Tough break for Whitside. He had a great run, but you can't take that extra lap. As we look at the results, Whitside docked a lap. He is shown in sixth. Craig Ferrier, the Canadian Formula V champion. Here's Todd with an interested spectator.
With the mayor from the city of Greater Sudbury, Jim Gordon, a pleasure to have you here and a pleasure to be back at this event, the 10th annual. It continues to grow, continues to attract great crowds, and continues to be a real plus for this city.
Well, you know, as a sporting community, and that's one thing you see here in Sudbury, these Formula One races are just prime. And you've seen the crowds. People keep coming out every year, more and more, and a lot of younger people. And I think this bodes well for the future of Formula One.
And more good news, a portion of the proceeds of today's event go to the refurbishing of Whitewater Park. This event will be here for many years to come.
And that's certainly good news for the community of Azilda. Here's highlights of the Formula SST class, and missing at the dock is number 72, Cameron Morley, as we look at the original start of this race, Todd, on the opening lap.
And here you see Cameron Morley doing the barrel roll across. The 28-year-old from Peterborough was okay. It was quite a barrel roll. Talked to him afterwards, a little shaken up, but he'll be all right.
Morley, a rookie in the SST class, moving up from Formula V. And he just hooked and then barrel rolled that boat. There you see the safety divers right on hand. Let's look at it on replay.
Tough initiation for this rookie moving up to the SST class. Rolls it over. A quick checkup at the medical center, of course, mandatory after an incident like that, and he's fine.
Here we look at the lineup for the Formula SST final. Echo Rental and Supply sponsoring this run here today. Brian Sheriff, another one of our SST 60 competitors. He's a rookie in that class. Of course, a 5-year veteran in Formula V. And again, off the starting dock, where whichever boat can get to that first pin first usually has a big advantage. Again, Todd, because you're going to be running in that clean water. It was a battle to get to that first pin. There you see Misselbacher in the number 60 boat, but 83, Blair Kantz, who has dominated SST racing here over the last few years, jumps out in front. Misselbacher right there in the number 2 spot.
Looked like Misselbacher was going to give him a battle, but then was forced after the turnaround, that first buoy, to tuck in behind. And you can see the lead that Blair Kantz is already building up early on in this race. As you mentioned, Pat, perennial winner here, and he's dominating early again.
Opening up a pretty good lead over that black 60 boat of Greg Misselbacher. Right behind Misselbacher, we had a great battle for third involving 3 boats. There you see the number 69 of Paul Hickey, along with 41 Dean Bowes and 837 Roland Forget out of Penetang. They were really going at it for that third place spot. There you see Forget moving up to challenge the 41 boat there of Dean Bowes. He was able to get around, and this was a great fight for fourth between those 2 drivers.
75 horsepower super stock motors on these Formula SST boats with a special gear case. They are built for racing.
Todd, this race for fourth really got heated up. There's Roland Forget, tries to go around the outside. He hooks the boat. Blake Rock in the 53 moves around into 5th. Forget gets shuffled back into 6th. But some great racing mid-pack. There you see Misselbacher going through the 69 boat of Hickey in 3rd. And there was 837 again. Roland Forget loops it for the second time, has to go back around the buoy. Late in this SST 60, 53 Blake Rock, 41 Dean Bose. This now becomes the battle for that 4th place spot. There you see Rock, 53 from Espanola, just west of Sudbury. He was really giving Bose all he could handle for 4th.
Back up at the front, number 83, Blair Kantz, continues to negotiate the choppy conditions, as does Greg Misselbacher in the number 60 boat. Big leads for both of those in position. No one's going to catch them.
Todd, 1st and 2nd was pretty much set. 69, Paul Hickey was running in 3rd. But like Cameron Whitside in that Formula V final, he took an extra lap and he was docked a lap at the end. Although he finished 3rd on the water, he was penalized. That moved the 41 boat of Dean Bose up into 3rd. There you see Misselbacher. Blake Rock finishes 4th, and rookie Brian Sheriff rounds out the top 5.
Crowd loving these Formula SST boats, but up next, it's the big boys, the F1 tunnel boat feature for the Canadian Powerboat Championship. Welcome back to the Molson Canadian Powerboat Championships, and yes, get set for a battle as the Formula One final is set to go.
Todd, there you see the order on the starting dock. Greg GRYGUC, Don Jenkinson. Then it'll be last year's winner Rob Size and Larry Everett. Randy Doyat out of Aylmer, Quebec. Pete NYDAHL from Wisconsin. And then Mark Major, the rookie, and Marty Broders will be the last of the boats across that starting dock. There you see Ted GRYGUC holding the stabilizing pole, and they are away. 15 lap Echo Rental and Supply Formula One final, and the battle down to that first pin involving the 17 boat of Greg GRYGUC and 46, last year's winner Rob Size.
They're picking up where they left off last year, Pat. A great battle with these two. Rob Size on the outside this time, again trying to use the momentum to get his way around Greg GRYGUC and grab that lead.
And Todd, Greg looking for some clean water down on the inside. There you see the 71 boat back there in 3rd. That is Pete NYDAHL from Wisconsin. He's got the best seat in the house to watch this battle up front between Greg GRYGUC in that yellow 17 boat and the race leader 46. Rob Size in the Dryland Marine machine as he now starts to pull away from GRYGUC. It looks like he's got a horsepower advantage down that long straightaway.
Let's give you an update on the 17X boat as well. We got the word from Ted GRYGUC that he was not able to fix that auto trimming function in the 17X of Mark Major. Difficulty. Mark's had tremendous success in Formula SST, was trying to make the move up to the Formula One boats. It was a one-race deal. They are still talking, though, about projects in the future.
There is Mark Major, a talented racer. I'm sure he will be back. Here is the battle for 2nd involving Greg GRYGUC and Pete NYDAHL, who swings a little bit wide off of that buoy. NYDAHL putting a real charge on here and now going after that number 2 spot. Rob Size, there he is. He continues to lead.
The leader already starting to approach lap traffic. You'll see the number 33 boat of Marty Broders, who continues to battle. Cooked his motor up pretty good during the qualifying efforts yesterday, but he's still out there battling.
Todd, they worked real hard trying to get that problem fixed. There is Ted GRYGUC, and here's a look at a replay of the start.
And horsepower is very important off the start as you're looking for that all-important hole shot. You see Greg GRYGUC and Rob Size battling, heading towards that first buoy to try to make that critical turn, get in there first ahead. And it looks like Greg GRYGUC has the horsepower at the moment, but Rob Size, you see the strength of that boat coming around the outside.
Great move there by Size to grab the lead, and he continues to run well out in front. 71, Pete NYDAHL from Wisconsin continues to pressure 17, Greg GRYGUC.
Looking at the number 17 of Greg GRYGUC, it's the Shell Nautilus Seabold, and I had a chance to speak to him a little bit earlier in the day about this one-race Canadian Championship season.
Yeah, it's been hard this year. With my dad, because he's in the marine business, been really busy, so it hasn't been too bad. It's almost been a blessing. But, you know, you sort of make plans for next year, contingency plans, so you do get all that experience in. And so next year you might be looking somewhere else to go do. Maybe we'll go to the U.S.
Pat, I can tell you that Greg is very hungry for a win, and he's a little superstitious as well. He's worn that same driving suit and will continue to do so until he gets that first victory.
Well, right now he's running in 2nd, just ahead of the 71 boat here of Wisconsin's Pete NYDAHL, who continues to nail down that 3rd place spot.
And with the great action we're watching today, we, along with all the competitors, are really hopeful that PPR can put plans in place for that 4-race series in 2002.
There's your race leader, 46, Rob Size. He continues to run well out in front. We did have a minute of silence earlier at the opening ceremonies here today at Whitewater Park in memory of longtime PPR safety diver Hardy Learsh, who passed away earlier this summer. He was a great, great diver, and of course his wife, Sandy, part of PPR as a volunteer. He will be sadly missed from Powerboat Racing.
As we continue to watch that battle for second, Pat, you're right. We must thank all the volunteers who were instrumental in this event. Let's say thanks to Rennie Carey and his volunteer staff, Lionel Lalonde, who's been so instrumental in promoting this event, and all these people from the greater city of Sudbury.
Todd, they've all done a great job. Hundreds of volunteers putting on this event as we look at that battle. It continues for second and third. 17, GRYGUC, just ahead of 71, Pete NYDAHL, and all of a sudden, the two team drivers, Randy Doyat and Don Jenkinson, going at it there for fourth and fifth.
Randy Doyat didn't have much luck here at this race last season, but now seems to have picked up his program a little bit and is battling with his teammate for position.
And they are running right at the tail end of the lead lap, Todd. Just 5 boats on that lead lap. There is Rob Sai's crew as they look at their driver running well out in front. 17, GRYGUC in second, 71, Pete NYDAHL third, then Randy Doyat fourth in the 5 boat, and Don Jenkinson from Pennsylvania, there he is, as the 46 boat of Rob Sides comes up to the line. There's the green flag. We're on the last lap.
And the hope of GRYGUC right now is that Rob Sides gets held up in this lap traffic. He's having to throttle back and adjust to the turbulent water. Greg is hopeful to try and catch him.
He just put Don Jenkinson a lap down, so 4 boats now on the lead lap with less than a lap to go. 25, Larry Everett will now go 2 laps down. He's running in 6th, but Rob Size appears to be on his way to yet another victory here in the Formula One final at Whitewater Park. And that is Randy Doyat just ahead of him. Checkered flag in the hands of Hank Engels. There's 46, and Rob Size has won it.
And there's his crew on the dock celebrating Rob Size, but Rob Size continues to power around the course.
Todd, that is a major no-no. You can see the concern on the dock. Once you take the checkered flag, you need to pull off the course. He is doing an extra lap. That usually means there's the black flag from Hank Engels. He is going to be docked a lap, and yes, they're giving the checkered flag to GRYGUC. And what a disappointment that must be for Rob Size, who will get third, Don Jenkinson fourth, then Larry Everett, Randy Doyat, who had problems at the end. Let's go to Todd Lewis.
GRYGUC, boy, this is probably not the way you imagined winning it, but you'll take your first victory any way you get it, won't you? Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yes, totally unexpected. I was congratulating Rob, and he said, I won. Yeah, it's not the way I wanted to win. Rob drove a great race and kept me honest, and I try to keep him honest. But I gave him a win last year, so turnaround's fair play, so it doesn't feel that bad then.
Now you can get rid of this old suit now, too, can't you?
That's great. Now I can get the new uniform, change my socks, too.
The Molson Canadian Powerboat Championships were sponsored by Travelodge. When in Sudbury, visit the Travelodge. The Government of Canada. And by the City of Greater Sudbury. Sudbury, Ontario, Canada, naturally greater. GRYGUC, the 2001 Canadian Formula One Powerboat champion. On behalf of Todd Lewis, this is Pat Gonzalez. We'll see you next year at Whitewater Park.